All right. So it looks like I'm streaming. I'm just getting a couple of things set up. Before we get started, if there's anybody here in the chat, feel free to say hi. So I am Marina, and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. Sorry for the slightly hectic start. I am trying to use a new streaming software, and it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. So I am just getting started today. My brain's a little bit frazzled from the trying to get started, but I am here today with some Rolags from my Etsy shop. These are called Yeti, and they are part of my cryptid collection. And these are available in my shop right now, but I decided to pull out this set to show you how I spin Rolags on my e-spinner, because I thought that would be a helpful video for some of you that might be intimidated by this kind of not as common fiber prep. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hang out here while folks trickle in. I don't really want to get started until there's somebody in the live chat. So I am just going ahead and working on this, which is a crochet covered bag that I have. And sorry about that. And I am covering this like zippered pouch in crochet, mosaic crochet. I had a video that came out on Monday all about this. So if you're interested in learning more about what I'm doing here, feel free to go ahead and check out that video. So like I said, I'm just gonna work on this for a couple moments, try to finish up this row before somebody jumps into the live chat. So if somebody jumps in, just go ahead and shoot me a comment so I know that you are here and watching with me. Because there's no fun in doing a live stream when you're all alone. But I think somebody should be tuning in soon, because I know I have some folks that said that they would be here. So this is a very basic mosaic crochet pattern that I'm doing here. It's one stitch of single crochet followed by one double crochet stitch into the stitch below the next stitch, if that makes sense. I do go into a pretty good job of explaining it in the YouTube video, so feel free to go ahead and check that out if you want more info. But like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up this row. I've only got that much left to go, so it shouldn't take too long. And hopefully by the time I'm there, somebody pops into the chat and I can show you how I spin Rolags into yarn. Using a bunch of sock yarn scraps for this project. So it's very fine. I'm using one of my smallest crochet hooks. It's for like, it's very small. It's a 2.55 millimeter crochet hook, which I think is the smallest one I've used for like a crochet project. Usually I use one of the ones that has like a letter name. And this is so small, it just says US 0/255 millimeters. So that's what I'm working on here while I wait for somebody to pop into the chat. And I guess if I finish this row and there's still no one here, I'll just go ahead and get started. Which is not my preference, but it's fine. I can do that. Not having the best mental health day today. I don't talk about it a ton on my channel because I don't feel like it really needs to be talked about. It's not really related to my fiber arts, but it is part of me. And I think if you're here watching this live stream, you're probably interested in me a little bit. If you're not, feel free to comment and say it's not all about you. Show us how to spin yarn. But I got some mental health issues that I deal with on a pretty regular basis. I've got some depression and anxiety, which impact my life a lot. And I manage. I do pretty well with my circumstances, but it's hard. And last night was a hard night. I was feeling pretty poorly last night, so I think I'm still feeling that a little bit, the remnants of that. So I'm kind of tired. I'm definitely not at 100%, but I'm still eager to be here with you, just hanging out and doing some crafting together. So I'm just gonna finish up this row, and then I will be getting started on my spinning project. Again, if there's anybody here, feel free to pop into the comments and say hi. And feel free to ask any questions, even if this is on the replay and you're just watching it, feel free to comment with any questions. I'm just being a little bit rambly right now because like I said, I am not at 100% right now. I'm a little bit tired. All right, friends, we only have a couple stitches to go. Actually, we just have one stitch to go, one slip stitch. I can get into this stitch. There we go. And then a slip stitch, and then I'm just gonna break this because that's gonna work. So as you can see, this is actually very close to being done. It's, I think it's pretty much all the way to the bottom, and then I just need to do a flat panel on the bottom, and then it's gonna be all done. It looks fantastic. The colors are gorgeous. I had originally talked about using this bag to store my leftover sock yarn bits. But I did some thinking about that, and I'm not actually going to be able to see anything that's inside this bag once it's all finished because it's covered. So using it for scrap yarn doesn't feel like the most practical use for it. So I'm considering either putting this in my Etsy shop and maybe putting a strap on it so it can be like a purse, or using it like that for myself. So I think I'm probably going to put a strap on it and then decide if I want to keep it for myself or if I want to stick it in my Etsy shop. So if you want it, let me know, because then it'll probably be going in my Etsy shop. But I don't know how much I would charge for it. This has been about a week and a half of this being my primary project. So I don't keep track of hours. It's easier to keep track in days. So I'd say this has been about 7 days of being my primary project, if not more than that at this point. So yeah, I'm not sure how to price that, because the yarn is just kind of scraps. It's leftover bits and pieces, so it's not worth a ton to me. But it was a lot of work. So I want to price my labor appropriately so that I'm not undervaluing myself. So anyway, I'm going to pack up this project and then we can go ahead and get started spinning. I also like that I can use this bag to store all of the parts of this project. Alrighty, friends, so we have our bag of Rolags. These are, like I said, called Yeti. They are comprised of merino wool, mulberry silk, bamboo, and tussa silk. And I'll pull these out of the packaging so you can really see them, because I do feel like they are easier to see and appreciate out of the bag. But these are my Yeti Rolags. You see we've got some blue and then like a kind of tealy blue and some purple and some more blues, and they're all blended together very well, which is how I like my Rolags. I think that having them like this makes a really fun, unique, stripy yarn, which I really enjoy. So some people see this and are like, well, how do you spin that tube? You know, what method do you use to spin it? And you can spin it long draw, like a hand carded Rolag, just like this, and then adding twist. But I find that spinning it short forward draw, kind of worsted, maybe short backwards draw. I don't super pay attention to names like that, but I will try to describe it appropriately once I get started. So I have this, I have my e-spinner here all set up and ready to go. I'm just gonna plug it in so it can get started. I've got my leader thread all set as well. And then I just pass this bit of fiber that I have here through my leader thread. And then I'm going to start my wheel, and it's going to begin adding twist, and just like that we have yarn. So I'm doing a combination short forward and short backwards draw. I think that's the best way to describe it. But I am spinning worsted. The fiber is not twisted between my hands at all. I'm keeping the twist on the other side of this pinch, and that's how you spin worsted, is by not having twist in the fibers that you're drafting. So again, I am just working on drafting this fiber and spinning it into a pretty fine but very, very pretty yarn. And I will show you some close-ups when we get a little bit further along. But for now, I'm just getting started spinning. So if there's anybody hanging out with me today, feel free to pop into the chat and say hi. Let me know how you're doing today and what you're up to, if you're crafting with me or if you're doing your own thing, maybe cleaning or cooking, depending on what time of day it is for you. And I'm just going to continue sitting here and spinning away at these beautiful Rolags, which, as I said earlier, if you like, you can find in my Etsy shop, which is linked in the description of this video. They're very pleasant and easy to spin. It goes very smoothly and drafts very easily because these fibers are essentially already fluffed and pre-drafted for you because I've carded them on my drum carder. They're fairly airy and easy to spin from because they're not very dense. I find that combed top is very dense and always needs to be pre-drafted and then drafted as well while you're actually doing the spinning. And I personally find that spinning from Rolags is easier, goes more smoothly, and creates a really, really fun yarn because you've got all of this heathering and blending of the fibers. And you can see I'm doing a little bit of pre-drafting, but it's not like I feel like sometimes when you're drafting from combed top, even if you've split it and well, not before you've pre-drafted, but when you're doing your pre-drafting, you kind of have to yank on your fibers. You know, you've got to really jerk it and give it a good tug, and that's because those fibers have been compacted as part of the milling process and the dyeing process. And so what I do here with these Rolags is I make something that is airier than combed top, that has air incorporated into it. I actually go out of my way not to compress the fibers in the packaging because it makes it so much easier to work with and spin. And so I would definitely recommend that you check out my how-to videos so that you can see how I make the Rolags. I have a whole playlist of Rolag making videos. So if you are interested in seeing how I make them, you should definitely go check out. I think I have 2 different videos for 2 different colorways that I made as custom orders. You can also always reach out to me if there's a colorway you don't see in my shop that you want as Rolags. And I have behind me here a whole wall of rainbow fiber, and that's all merino that I use for blending Rolags. So if you don't see what you want in the Etsy shop, you can feel free to contact me and we can work something out and do a custom order. So again, if there's anybody here, feel free to pop into the chat and let me know what you think of what's going on here. I am just spinning away at these Rolags, just gently drafting this fiber. It doesn't need much to draft it out. Like I said, it's much airier than combed top, which again has been compressed and kind of condensed. That's not quite the right word, but it kind of removed all of that airiness from it, and it's a much more worsted prep than woolen. This is kind of a semi-prep. It's not a true woolen prep because you can't really spin long draw from it, which is how you would typically spin a woolen yarn. So it's kind of a semi-worsted, semi-woolen prep in that it's airier than combed top, but not as airy as hand carded Rolags. So I was saying earlier, I have not been having the best mental health day. Last night was rough. I struggle with some pretty substantial depression, and I was very sad last night, to put it mildly. And I think I'm still kind of feeling the effects from that. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit almost burnt out feeling. I wasn't sure I was even going to have energy to do this live stream. So I'm glad that I'm here doing it, because that feels like a good accomplishment. But I am tired, so it might not be the longest live stream. But it's already longer than last week, and so I'm going to count that as a win. So again, this is just some Rolags. Oops, I just dropped some Rolags that I have in my Etsy shop. These are called Yeti because they were part of my cryptid collection. Excuse me, I have to reach down and grab this Rolag that I dropped. So I also had like Mothman and Nessie, which was the Loch Ness Monster, and Thunderbird. That one was fun. And I also have a colorway called Sasquatch, but I didn't have the materials that I needed for it. So that one didn't make it into that collection release, but I do have a like orangey and brownish and some white that's called Sasquatch, which is pretty cool. But this is Yeti, which is comprised of merino wool, tussa silk, mulberry silk, and bamboo. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. And I like to have about 25% add-ins in my Rolags. I think that it adds fun, interest, and texture and shine, especially with the silks. So I think that is a fun way to kind of elevate the Rolags beyond the allure of combed top. They're a little bit more luxurious and easy to spin, and I think funner to spin than combed top. Again, that's just my personal preference, but I really like my Rolags. There's a reason that I started making them, and it's because I really liked spinning from them. I started making them for fiber friends for like birthdays and such, and they always really complimented spinning them and enjoyed working with them. So I guess that's kind of how my Etsy shop started in terms of Rolag sales, because I did originally sell hand spun yarn on there, but I found that I wasn't reaching an audience, so I didn't make many sales. My dog is sleeping on his bed behind me. I can just hear him breathing, so I imagine you can't hear him at all, but I like mentioning that he's there. I feel like he's a very sleepy dog, so he doesn't often make an appearance. This is making a really nice blue and purple and white heathered yarn. Which is pretty much how my Rolags turn out, unless I make ones that are a gradient along the length of the Rolag, which I do sometimes. Had a Pride collection that still has some stuff in the Etsy shop. And those were gradients of like pride flags, which was fun. I made a rainbow pride headband with some of my rainbow pride Rolags, which was fun. But again, this is from my cryptid collection called Yeti. And I'm just sitting here spinning away, drafting this fiber, which is very easy to draft because again, it's been all fluffed up in the spinning process, or in the carding process, excuse me. So it's very easy to spin, it's very smooth and pleasant and easy to draft. I like my Rolags quite a bit. Oh, hi Perla. I'm glad you're here. Oh, thank you for the compliment about spinning my Rolags. Perla is one of my friends who gets birthday Rolags, so she knows from personal experience how lovely it is to spin these in person. So I'm working through the very first Rolag in this bag. I have about, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, looks like 10-ish more Rolags. There might be a couple more buried, but I'm making good progress, seeing as how I've only been spinning for the last 15 or so minutes, because I started a little bit late. I was working on my crochet bag project at the very beginning of the live stream while I was waiting for folks to trickle in, and so I was working on that and showing that off a little bit at the very beginning of the video. I also used some super fine merino for this white in these Rolags, which I can feel. It's very, very nice. Oh, Parla, you're working on flying Etheria? That's great. Etheria, for those that don't know, is like pink and purple, kind of like sunset in a cartoon. That's what the inspiration pictures were based on the cartoons Steven Universe and She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is actually where the name comes from, because the place that they live is Etheria. And it's a very pretty name. So I took it for the Rolag collection, for the Rolag colorway. And then periodically I'm just progressing my yarn guide so that it winds onto the e-spinner relatively evenly. And that just makes it easier when you're plying or doing a ball, winding a ball. It just comes off the bobbin much more easily when you wind it nice and evenly. You don't have like, sometimes, especially when I first started, there would be times when I would be plying or making a center pull ball on a ball winder, and I would end up actually snapping my singles because the circumference of the yarn on the bobbin would go from a really big circumference to a really small circumference, and it would make the yarn kind of jerk, and sometimes that would break my singles. So I find that winding my bobbin nice and evenly really helps with that. Also helps to go easy on your yarn, which I've mostly learned to do. And that is our first Rolag done. So now I'm going to show you how I connect Rolags, but first I'm going to get a drink of water because I've been talking a lot and I'm getting thirsty. All right. So I've got my next Rolag, and what I'm going to do is just take the very end and fluff it up, so barely at all, and then start incorporating twist, lay the fibers from the old single over the fibers from the new Rolag, and then let some twist in, and just like that, you have connected the next Rolag. If you do this carefully and make sure you have enough of an end on each side that the fibers like lay over each other and are able to connect, it goes very smoothly. If you are left with like barely any end, like that much end, and then you try, it's a little bit trickier. Like I'm actually gonna untwist that spin out of this fiber because laying the fibers over each other is much easier when you have a little bit more of an end to work from, a little bit more of like a fluffed up end and not a spun single, like if you go all the way to the end of the fiber. Hopefully that made sense. So, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? While I spin away here. As I was saying earlier, not having my best mental health day today, so it's a little bit hard to, I guess, be on camera and be presenting myself like this, because part of me just wants to sit somewhere and knit and not have to do that. But I think it's good to make myself work a little bit, kind of stretch that muscle so I'm not just resting. Uh-oh, Perla's having technical difficulty with her plying. That's not good. I hope that it's going okay. Did you rest your singles? Or were you so excited to ply that you got right to it? I know that feeling. But I generally try to rest my singles for a couple of days so that there's not a ton of crazy active twist. Oh, let's see. I tried to do an Andean bracelet from memory and I did it wrong, and now I have a tangly mess. I am sorry that you're dealing with that, Perla. That is not the best, but I'm glad that you're here and hanging out, and hopefully we're giving you some good company during your plying troubles. And thank you for the hugs. It's not that out of the norm for me to have a not great day. Like I was saying earlier, I got some mental illness and depression stuff that makes life a little bit challenging, more than a little bit. But I guess I just try to take it one day at a time, one hour at a time, sometimes when it's hard. And that helps. Sometimes if I think too far in the future, I get very stressed out. Because I think of all of the things that I have to do between now and then, and that becomes overwhelming. So I try to take things one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, depending. And that works pretty well for me. So you can see some of my fiber is drafting for me. So I might lose the lower half of this Rolag. That's okay, I can always pick it back up. And I see it's time to stop and progress my yarn again. I feel the fiber starting to slip, so I'm giving it some more time to let that twist in. So I got a little bit dangerously thin right here. So I think I'm probably going to make a normal video, like edited together video of how I spin Rolags as well as this live stream. But that's a problem for the future. Something that I will address in maybe a week or two. But I thought doing this live stream would be good to kind of get my ideas out there, and then I can organize them, and then I can put together a more formal and coordinated video that takes a little bit less time to get the same ideas across. Perla says, what has your favorite colorway been to dye so far? Are you asking me what my favorite colorway of Rolags to make is? Because I don't dye it. I just blend the colors. I think there's a bit of a lag, so it'll take a minute for you to get back to me. But that's okay. We have time. But assuming that's your question, I think my favorite colorway was probably one of the Steven Universe colorways. Those were really fun to kind of creatively come up with, because the character designs are so colorful and vibrant. So I was just thinking, because I made 5. I think garnet or amethyst were some of my favorites because they have that purple in them. And I also always love a theme. So including red and blue silk in the garnet colorway was very, very thematic for anybody that knows the show. Sapphire and ruby. Those were the specific colors. Has some silk in it, which has a really, really nice shine to it. It almost looks like I added sparkle to this colorway, which I didn't. I do that sometimes. I have a whole rainbow of colors of sparkle that I have to choose from. But I didn't add sparkle to this colorway. It's just that I think the mulberry silk has more of a sheen to it. And it almost looks like sparkles. Perla says, any ideas on new colorways to card up? I think I'm going to redo my Star Wars colorways because those have been pretty popular, particularly Coruscant, Mustafar, and then I think the new one, Umbara, that I just did a custom order for my friend Lauren over at Valkyrie Fibers. I think that one will be pretty popular too. I made one extra bag, which I sold in the Etsy shop, and it sold very quickly. So somebody jumped right on that. Something else that I do when I am trying to wind a nice even bobbin is that I work from back to front, and then I bring my yarn guide all the way back to the back. So you're just filling in one direction. You're not going back and forth. You're just filling from back to front and then back to front and so on. And that's a tip that I got from Evanita M, I think, on Instagram. She also, I think, wrote an article for maybe Ply Magazine talking about it. Maybe Tiny Studio Magazine. I don't remember. One of those spinning fiber arts magazines. She wrote an article about how to evenly wind your bobbin, which I found very helpful. In terms of new colorways that I haven't done before, I don't have any current inspiration, and I'm pretty busy with the YouTube channel to come up with new colorway ideas. But I'm sure something will spark my interest. I usually go where my creativity takes me. So whenever I have an idea for a new collection, I'm sure I'll come up with something. But for now, I might recreate the Star Wars Planet collections. And then if anybody has custom orders, I'll obviously take care of those too. I very much like custom orders because I know somebody's buying it. I don't have to stress about it being in the shop and not selling, which is nice. Plus, I like working with somebody, so like sending messages back and forth and making sure it looks good to them. I mean, like what I did with your birthday Rolags, Perla, where I even spun up samples to see how they would look with the different variations because I wanted to make sure you liked it. All right, we are coming to the end of our second Rolag. Shall we do a third? I'm not sure. I think I'll at least start a third. So I'm gonna stop my wheel with this nice end left. Pick my next Rolag. Pull out the end a little bit and lay those ends over each other. And then making sure to catch fiber from both of those Rolags, I'm going to start adding some twist and draft. And now we have moved on to the next Rolag. Perla says those are gorgeous. She's talking about the birthday Rolags I made for her this year, which are the Jane Austen Rolags, which I have a video about if you're interested in seeing how those are made. But she says those are gorgeous, absolutely love them, and plan on spinning those up after this tangly mess I've gotten myself into. I've been there, Perla. I am sorry that you're dealing with that, but like I said before, I'm glad you're here with us today. So like I said, I've been mostly working on my crochet covered zippered bag, which I showed at the very beginning of the live stream, but I'm going to show again in case you weren't here then. So this is my crochet covered zippered bag. You can see I crocheted into the fabric of the zipper and then worked across and then started working around, and now it's practically done. I think I just need to do the bottom and it'll be done. And my plan was originally to keep yarn scraps in here, like all of the remnants from sock projects, because I'm using sock yarn for this. And I think that might not be the best idea for this because I'm not going to be able to see through the bag to see what scraps I have. So in order to like pick a scrap, I'm going to have to dump out the whole bag. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather like be able to see through it and know if I have the desired fiber inside. And so I'm not super sure what I'm going to do with this. I think I think I might put a strap on it and make it into a purse, either for me or to put on my Etsy shop. So just like a long strap from either side of this zipper, or maybe on the top. Yeah, probably on the top. I would like crochet into the side here, and then make a big strap. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm not sure, but that's where I'm at right now with this project, which, like I said, is getting very close to being done, which is very exciting. So if you happen to like this, let me know, and it can go on my Etsy shop for you. Perla says, oh wow, that looks so cool. Thank you. I'm very excited about it. I think it looks fantastic. This is just a basic mosaic crochet stitch, 1x1 mosaic crochet. And it kind of looks like color work, but it's just working along, doing single and double crochets into the stitches. If you want more info about that, feel free to check out my latest regular video, which came out on Monday, which is about this bag, although I was only like this far along. I'd only done this much when I finished filming that video. So I've done quite a bit since I finished filming. I've been busy. All right, back to spinning. I think I'm probably gonna wrap up soon because, like I was saying earlier, I'm a little bit tired, and doing a almost 1 hour live stream is pretty good for a day when I'm not feeling my best. And I think I'm gonna start wrapping up. So if you liked this video, remember to give me a like just by pressing that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel because 3 videos come out every week. I have 2 regular scheduled videos that go out on Mondays and Fridays, as well as my live stream, which happens every Wednesday. Oh, Jen, you just got here. I can stick around. I don't have anywhere I have to be. If you would like to talk a little bit about the spinning process, because I was literally just wrapping up, but I would be happy to show you what I'm working on. So this is my Yeti colorway, which is a combination of blues and purples and whites, which I blend up on my drum carder. If you want to see how I make Rolags, I have a couple different videos about that, but this is just about how I spin them. So as you can see, I've done some pre-drafting, and now I'm just gently drafting out the fiber. I'm spinning this worsted, so I'm not letting twist between my 2 hands. I'm using this pinch to keep the twist on that side of the fiber as I make it into yarn. And I just kind of been talking about how Rolags are really, really pleasant to spin. They're kind of already drafted for you. They're much airier and less compact than combed top. And they're really a pleasure to spin. So that's that. Do you have any questions for me, Jen, before I finish wrapping up this video? You can absolutely go back and watch the replay. I will make sure that is available for you. Of course, if anybody has any questions or comments, you can feel free to either post those in the live chat or comment with them, and I will be sure to answer your question either in the live stream, or if you leave a comment, I will reply to it as soon as I see it. I'm really happy with how many folks have stopped in today. We've had a fair number of people viewing, although I think only one or two have actually said hi, which I just want to remind you, I always love chatting with folks watching my videos. So don't be shy. Feel free to pop into chat and make yourself known, because I love hanging out and being able to socialize with you. So Jen says she doesn't have any questions right now. So I think I'm going to finish wrapping up this video. I already said like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. I'm really happy that some of you have been able to hang out with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I think that's it. There, do you want to come say hi? Come here. He's very sleepy. Come here. You can do it. Come here. Oh, big stretch. Big stretch. All right, buddy. Can you make it up onto my lap? Yeah? Come on. Up. Up. There. Come on. Come on. Up. All right. You need me to do it manually, or are you coming around that way? Up. Up. All right. So this is Bear. I think we've met him in a couple videos, but this is his first live stream appearance. So this is Bear. He's a mutt. He's a cutie. He's a love bug. And he's glad you were here for the live stream too. So thank you again, friends. It's been so wonderful hanging out with you and having this fun little day. This fun little hangout today. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm so glad that you have been here with me today, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye, friends.